We're going to go through this one quickly. You should have had x squared plus 24 squared equals 25 squared. X squared. This is the work I would need to see. We got a quiz coming up, so we're going to do in my calculator, which mine might look a little different than yours, but 25 squared minus 24 squared is what goes on the right side. And then what am I going to do with that number? That's 49. Square root both sides. X equals 7. Now, to solve the triangle, we have to find the missing angles as well. Let's say we want to find x first. We want to find the measure of angle x. And then the measure of angle z. X, if I have my pencil on x, I need to use the adjacent and hypotenuse sides. So I'm going to use cosine of x equals 24 over 25. I am telling you right now what I need to see, okay? I'm handing you the keys to getting points on the quiz. If you do not show this work, you will get points counted off. Is that clear to everybody? You have to show cosine of x equals 24 over 25. Then I need to see I go back and forth on this next step. All right, cosine inverse cancels the cosine. X equals, we have cosine inverse of 24 over 25. Cosine inverse of 24 divided by 25. Did you get 16.26? What should the label be?
Degrees.
Are you going to get counted off if you don't put degrees?
Yes.
Yes, it's an angle. I did not tell you how to round, so if you put 16.3, I would count that, right? On the quiz, angles are going to be rounded to the nearest tenth. Sides are going to be rounded to the nearest hundredth, 2 decimals, all right? So here's what I was saying I go back and forth on. I go back and forth on whether I'm going to require you to show this second step. Here's what I'm saying. You have to show. All right, I'm going to make a decision. I need to see that step, and then I at least need to see x equals the cosine inverse of 24 over 25. So you can have that step, and then that step, and then that step. I don't need to see you taking the cosine inverse and canceling, but I need to see that you did the cosine inverse. Is that fair? All right. Cosine of x is 24 over 25, and then cosine inverse both sides, x is 16.3 degrees. Now, the next part is whether you're feeling risky or not. So 16.3 degrees. Could you take 90 minus 16.3 and get 73.7? You could. Even better, you put your finger on z and you say, well, I'm going to use the opposite in a hypotenuse. So I'm going to take the sine of z equals 24 over 25. Sine inverse both sides. So the next step, if you wanted to skip that second step, would be z equals the sine inverse of 24 over 25. And then what comes out of the calculator should be 73 sine inverse 24 over 25, 73.7. 73.7 degrees. That's solving a triangle. Christian.
So to find the side x, I did the tangent of one of the angle x, and then I did x over 24.
So she's saying instead of finding the side first, she found this angle was 16.26. 26, yeah, that's even better. 16.26. And then use tangent of 16.26 equals x over 24. Is that okay? Yes. Okay. However, if you got that angle wrong, you'd get the side wrong. It's just a risk. The safe way would be Pythagorean theorem at that point. I'm not saying it's wrong. I would count it completely right if you did it that way. You got it right. Questions on that one? That was a problem we skipped yesterday. It was the front of the guided notes. Next one. The quiz will say find the measure of angle y. Find yz. Find zx. What's angle y? 49 degrees. We're going to pause for a minute. Is there going to be any inverse tangent, inverse sine, inverse cosine in this problem? No. Why not? Ryan, go for it.
You don't need to find an angle.
Don't need to uncover any angles. Inverses uncover angles. Well, we don't need to do that. So it's just going to be regular sine, regular cosine, regular tangent because we're taking those of the acute angle. Let's say we want to find x first. My finger's on the 41-degree angle. That's the one I was given. If I'm finding x, that is the what side is it? Opposite. And I'm going to use 18.4 since it was given. That's the hypotenuse. So I'm going to use sine. Sine of 41. Now, is it x over 18.4 or 18.4 over x?
X over 18.
Yeah, x over 18.4. Because not because the unknown is in numerator, it's because sine is opposite divided by hypotenuse. Is this a one-step solve or a two steps from here? One, because I just have to multiply both sides by 18.4. X is 18.4 times the sine of 41. I'm going to say it now because I'm going to have someone come up and ask me during a quiz. Mr. Westfall, I keep getting an error in my calculator. What do you think they're doing? Maybe they're putting parentheses, right? Maybe they're putting parentheses. What else is an issue? Might have happened to you. What's the sine inverse of 41? Domain error. Mr. Westphal, I'm getting an error in my calculator because you should be using sine, not inverse, because we're not uncovering an angle. Could you see how that could happen during a quiz? Okay, so make sure you understand when to use sine, when to use inverse sine. 18.4 times the sine of 41, 12.07. That's a 7. Did everybody get 12.07? Now I'm going to keep my finger at the 41-degree angle because that was the one they gave us. But this time, if I want to use y is the adjacent. I still want to use the hypotenuse. Which trig function uses adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So I take the cosine of 41. Is it y over 18.4 or 18.4 over y? Now, here's what I was saying before. This is a one-step solve from here. I just need to multiply by 18.4. It's a two-step solve if your variable is in the denominator. It takes one step to multiply to get it out of the denominator. It takes a second step to detach it, to detach the variable, to get it by itself because there was a sine of something or cosine of something or tangent of something multiplied to it. All right, that's the second step. Does that make sense? If your variable's in the denominator, it's going to take two steps to get it by itself. This one, we just multiply by 18.4. 13.89. $13.89. Personally, here's the next thing I do. I do a quick check. 41 is the smallest angle in this triangle. Across from it should be the shortest side. Because if an angle doesn't open up very wide, the side across from it is going to be pretty small. Well, is X my smallest side? X was YZ. 12, yeah, that's the smallest. The medium angle is 49. Medium side, and obviously the hypotenuse is the longest side. It's across from the biggest angle. It's across from 90. That's solving a triangle. So 2 types. 1, you're given an acute angle. The other angle is easy to find. Subtract it from 90. No inverse trig used. Other type of problem, you're given 2 sides. Probably going to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the third side. And you will need an inverse trig function to uncover one of the angles. All right? Now an application problem. Your school building is a raked stage. The stage visible to the audience will be 30 feet long from the back, front to back, with a total rise of 2 feet. So, 30 feet long from front to back. Where do you think the 30 feet goes? Hypotenuse or the bottom side? Bottom side, good. 30 feet. You want the rake, the angle of elevation, to be 5 degrees or less for safety. Is the rake within your desired range? Should I put a 5-degree angle here? No. I'm going to uncover the angle and check and see if it is 5 or less. Okay. Well, here's the angle I want to find. What 2 sides am I going to use? So I'm going to use the tangent. Let's call this angle A. The tangent of A. Now, I guess, are you guys reading this the same way I am, that that's 30? Or would you think that the hypotenuse would be 30? Yeah, I guess I don't think the wording on this is the best. This is actually a problem I've solved. Did I tell you guys about the wheelchair ramp I had to build? Yeah. So this is very similar to a wheelchair ramp problem. But that would be obvious because you would say, how far is the base of the ramp from the door? Like, what's that horizontal distance? If you said, how long is the ramp, then that would be obviously the hypotenuse.
It's pointing to the one that we have.
The stage visible to the audience will be 30 feet long. From front to back.
There's not a huge difference.
I don't really like how it's
Yeah, but it's at the
you think it's the hypotenuse?
Yeah. Yes,
the
it's
visible
visible.
to the audience, that can't be under.
But look, it's like it's pointing at
Right.
pointing at the hypotenuse.
I think it's the hypotenuse now.
Oh my god.
I don't want to do that.
Interesting, yes.
We'll talk about that. Levi.
Does it not matter because either way the angle has to be 5 or less?
Well, the answer's
It depends how close it is. In all honesty, I would not give a problem that's this unclear on a quiz. And if you asked me, I would tell you which one is the 30. If you said I can't tell from the wording. All right, just. Who are my what do you call it? What's it called? Theater people. Who are my theater people? Stage crew, theater people. Nobody? Is that I've never heard of a raked stage. Have you? You said you saw Kanye on one? You said you saw Kanye on a rake stage?
Yeah, I think someone like pranks somebody else and
We're gonna put 30 as the hypotenuse. We're gonna put 30 as the hypotenuse. I'm serious.
Make a different problem.
That's so mean. I literally.
Well, that's your fault. All right, I'm gonna make 30 the hypotenuse. All eyes up here. We're making 30 the hypotenuse. Listen, I would agree. The part visible would have to be that slanted part. Okay. So the tangent of A is not tangent anymore. Changing to sine of A. Numerator? 2. Denominator? 30. So A is the, what do we have to do to both sides? Sine inverse of 2 over 30. Sine inverse of 2 over 30. 3.82. So 3.82 degrees, which is less than 5 degrees. So I would say this is a safe raked stage, whatever that is.
I literally I got the same
Jackson.
answer. I literally got the same answer.
Now, that's what I was going to talk about. Why do you think you get the same answer? Now, when you say same, what do you mean?
Like the exact. Yeah.
Exact decimal.
Yes.
No,
It was pretty
That's the
much.
problem. Now listen,
It is 3.82.
if we had more time, I would show you why. What is the third side?
Less than 30.
Less than 30, but really, 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 really close to 30. This is such a shallow angle that this adjacent side is so close to the hypotenuse that the angle is going to be very similar. It's going to be very similar. Okay? All right. So let me ask you. How did you feel like the homework went last night? Are we confused on solving triangles? Are we okay? Were there any? I didn't put up the answers, did I? All right. 1, 3, 11 through 18. Are there any you wanted to check, have me read out loud that you were confused about? None? All right. We got a worksheet for homework. All right, real quick, we got 3 more minutes. I want to talk about tomorrow's quiz. It's going to be 25 minutes.
What?
It's going to be a group quiz. It's only one problem.
Is it easy?
I know.
Just make it 30.
Do you guys want to hear about it? You want to talk about it? I don't have the hour groups. I don't have them made yet.
Will you talk? Oh, yeah.
All right, once again, show your setup work. All right, you can skip number 2. Cross out number 2. We're not doing number 2. So tomorrow, first 25 minutes will be the group quiz. And then the second part will begin the quiz review. I want to practice some more angles of elevation and depression with you guys. I feel like that will probably be a challenging area on the quiz on Monday. So we'll practice some of that tomorrow. We have a couple versions of quiz reviews to get you practice. Ready to go? Quiz Monday. All right. Have a wonderful short day.
Probably not. Yeah.